myself only 32
Look at
seconds
you.
into this.
That's because you're amazing.
I know.
I love your glasses.
Try.
Those are super cute.
Thank you. Thank you. And for some reason, it seems like you might be a little bit delayed, but that's okay. So everybody, we are here with Andrea Adams-Miller. God, it's over a year since we first met. Is that correct?
That's correct. And she's just Buttles. She's Buttles. She's Buttles and butterflies. I would say bubbles and butterflies. You put them together and you get a buttle.
All right. So everybody, welcome to the Funnels and Follow-Up Show. For those of you, this is the first show that I'm doing since my wonderful husband, partner, best friend passed away unexpectedly. And we just moved forward because I know he's like right here talking in my ear as he normally does, as he's been doing since that time. He's right here too. Here's where he tells me what to do, and here's where he tells me he loves me.
Nice.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Andrea's from the Red Carpet Connection. She's an international publicist, business consultant, NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist. What you do for people is you bring them to their best selves, and then you show the world and let the world know, like, these are some amazing people that are out there. And it's some pretty cool stuff you do.
And I am so honored to be the person who's here with you so that we can continue the tradition of who you and Barry were together, so that he lives on, so that you live on, and so that everything, all the lives that we touch, that we take him with us and can share that everywhere. Because I have just seen the outpouring of love, and it's so exciting now because now Catherine has a light bigger than ever behind her that's glowing her and elevating her to than she ever imagined possible. And I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have a support system, which includes you. You reached out, and you'll be helping me with the show and getting some guests booked and keeping the show going and the show alive, because the most important thing for you, for me, for Barry, is always, hey, business owners, let's get you guys more business. Let's get you guys information, things you can do, stuff to fill up those funnels, clients to talk to, clients to follow up with. And that is the joy of, I know that's the joy of your life. That is the joy of my life. That was the joy of his life. So onward and upward, onward and upward. So with the Red Carpet Connection, you align clients with the Red Carpet Connection to show authority, credibility, trust. You get them onto the radio, in newspapers, on stages, on virtual stages, which all we're doing now is virtual stages.
Yes.
I just finished an amazing 3-day event and on a virtual stage, and that's just becoming the norm. And it's like, well, why the heck do I have to travel? I can do this virtually.
We can. I'm actually looking for, because my life has always been busy anyways. Now I'm even more excited, thinking now I get to be on a virtual. I always said, how can I be in more than one place at once? Now I can go to a live event and be on a stage and then be on someone else's stage at the same time. Wouldn't that be fun? Let me just do this talk for all of you right now, both here and far away, at 2 different events. Let's do 3. Why not? Let's do more. Let's just videotape me and put me out.
You know what? On the stage that you're on live, right? So you got your little banner behind you that says, this is so-and-so stage. This is, Mary Poppins' stage. But then when you're virtually, being broadcast someplace else, they could put the virtual background in that, says it's, somebody else's stage. You could do that like 2 or 3 times.
You could. And then if you tell all the people, hey, this is what I'm doing so that I can cross promote all of you and do this all at the same time, then they all can participate together, and so that you can reach a greater audience, and it helps save money for everybody involved, because then not everybody's paying for flight and hotel. They can all chip in for it. It can really be a positive thing. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm always looking for what is the positive in whatever is being created for us. I call it unearthing the gold. my whole life I had to, figure out what's underneath all of this stuff that might be icky or unhappy, and how can I find happiness in it. And that was by doing it alone. I was an only child, the lonely child. We didn't have kids in our neighborhood, so I grew up with my friends. You can see all my friends behind me. Those are books and the
Right.
people in books. And it's through literature and reading that I created a life for myself. And then now as an adult, it's those very things that I still love, and I still write and publish and
And you help
helping
other
other
people
people
write and
publish.
publish their books and
Yeah.
get those things out. You were running around the marketers cruise, which I will figure out how to do it this year. We didn't do it. We didn't do it in 2020. We made a conscious effort to say, okay, we're going to do it every other year because it's a lot.
Nice.
And I'll do it in
It's
2021.
crazy whirlwind. It's
I just
beautiful.
I
Yeah.
need a roommate, got to find myself a roommate. But you were running around the cruise, you were taking pictures, connecting people, talking to people, making, making introductions, doing all this stuff. And always, guys, ladies and gentlemen, always in red, right down to the, right down to that. She's always in red. You did.
Was she seeing my underwear? Apparently she was. Actually, I
You
think you were there the year that we did the lingerie pajama party or something. So I think that's possible.
Yeah. No, I specifically asked you the question. I'm like, is your bra red too? And you went, yes, it is. And you showed me a little strap. It was tasteful, ladies and gentlemen. It was great. But this
She
is,
tasted it, in other words, and she thought it was great.
and kind of energy and enthusiasm that you bring to your projects, that you're helping people get out there, put their best face forward, put their best foot forward. So what is your system of publicity that outshines all the others?
Well, I call it Living Red. So Living Red, it's an acronym. So RED
Mhm.
stands for relevance. So we start looking for what's the relevance in your business, in your life, in your goals, in your values, in the people that you're around. How is that relevant to what's happening in the world? And so
Okay.
we need to make that match. And then we do that with energy. So we need to create whatever it is that you're doing. It needs to have energy and movement within it, whether it's books or video or print. Print has movement in it, and sometimes people don't realize that, but it carries you with it. And we want it to embrace people, bring them in and take them along, and we want that movement there. So energy and excitement. And then the last one is delivery. So what is the delivery? How are we delivering that package? And if you do it with the red carpet connection in mind, so in relevance, enthusiasm, and delivery, you hit your target market every time. Now, that has a little play on words for me that usually opens the door for me to be able to explain that to other people. So as a publicist, when I'm on shows like this, I break down what I'm talking about because I want you guys to see the why the words I choose and why do I choose them. So if you were somebody else, if somebody else was me and they were saying that and they say, you hit your target market every time. And then people are like, ooh, and then you say, by the way, I used to work in law enforcement. By the way, I did work in law enforcement. And when I went to school for my gun training, my gun certification, I was the first girl to pass at my particular school and the first person to get 100%. So I hit my target market every time. So I have that behind me. But the reason I also bring that up, and this is what I'll help set up for you, is what are the things that you bring up that have relevance to other people? When
Right.
people hear law enforcement, they usually think somebody who's an authority, who's credible, and who they can trust. Now, we're going to be honest right now. Today, we're in a current craziness where there's sometimes distrust among people who are in law
Unfortunately.
enforcement. But at the same time, they know that there are some you trust and some you don't, just like there's good and bad in everything. And most people will stand with that and trust me. And then, of course, that I have to supply more than that. It's not just saying I was in law enforcement, but it's being able to show up and be authentic and real. And that's part of that delivery. story is that when you are authentic and real, then people can fall in love with who you are, and they see you as a real person
Right.
instead of someone who's putting on a face or a facade.
That's so important, that your true self shine in everything that you do. And when you're choosing a publicist, when you're choosing somebody who's helping you to to get out there, to be seen and be heard, make sure it's somebody that is going to, well, first of all, just pick Andrea and just be done with it. But if that's not possible, make certain it's someone who is going to not put up a bullshit story. I mean, let's call it what it is. You don't want to put up any of that stuff. You don't want to do that. You just want to be your authentic self, because in everyone and in everything, there is an amazing story, an amazing person. Just put that forward. Don't think you've got to be somebody else.
There's a difference in spinning the truth and telling the truth. So I spin the truth. That means we use the truth and we just put it in we portray it in such a way that it's more attractive and more beautiful. It's kind of like when you have a wedding cake or you go to a fancy party, a cake is a cake. But the fancy doodads and the decoration that we put on it make it more attractive. But at the end of the night, it's still just a cake. And that's what we're doing. Right. Calories burn the same.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So, P.S. I have a date for the my darling friend and complete rock star Crystal Tosh. I think is going to end up sharing the room with me. So
nice.
All the other proposals, you can go by the wayside now. Crystal and I are going to hang.
Awesome. I look forward to meeting her. That'll be fun.
She's amazing. So now one of the most revered copywriters out there, one of the just like top of the top, said some really good things about you, Joe Sugarman. So what was it? What did he say? Why did he say it?
Well, it was really interesting because you've probably heard this for yourself as well. Often entrepreneurs, especially serial entrepreneurs, are told, niche it down, only talk about one thing, only talk about one thing. And I'm like, yeah, but I did this and I did that and I did this and I did that. How can I take one thing that I'm amazing at? Like my husband describes me not as a jack of all trades. He said, you're a master of multiple trades, because I go into something, I do it full force. And then when I really, really grasp it, I'm like, okay, I want to learn more. And then I learned that and I get into that world. So I've been able to have multiple businesses. And then when Joe met me, I was talking to him about that. We'd gone to dinner in Vegas together, and it was just me and him being heart to heart. And he said, Andrea, he said, what's different about you and why your stuff works is, he said, you take things from over here into over here and you blend them together that people would never do. And I said, well, give me an example. And he said, well, when you told the story about how you took, theater and you took your carpet cleaning business that you were working with and you merged them together along with a cleaning business that you used to own and came up with this concept of this connoisseur cleaning, or this connoisseur raking at the end of the carpet cleaning, and created this beautiful feature, this treatment for this carpet company that other people didn't have. And so when people would call them for an estimate, they were told to ask, do they all, make sure when you call other people for, referrals or resources before you choose us, ask them if they do these different things. And one of them was that. So when they called the other companies are like, no, we don't even know what that is. And so they looked incompetent because they didn't know what the things were within the company, and they were able to shine really beautifully. And I love that because Joe said, it's Andrea, it's because it's that blend of all your cultural and life experiences that allow you to bring a really high level of value to people. And that was so amazing because I taught college in 8 different departments at 2 different universities. So, when you've taught psych, soc, English, sexually violent crime investigation, art and theater, and worked as a tutor in the tutoring center for nurses, when you combine all that, how do you combine all that together? Well, you do. You do.
When different ingredients make magic.
The ability to make magic by doing that. Actually, that leads me to, can I jump to a different story? I want to tell you guys about somebody who is one of the most amazing people that I have revered. I've always had multiple mentors myself, and the people that I hang around with are high level peers on the Internet Marketers Cruise who are multimillionaires and billionaires. We even have a billionaire that comes on the cruise.
And if I can just interrupt for half a second.
Sure.
Guys, listen to what she said. She is incredibly successful. And 99% of her success is, just, listen to her, watch her. That's 99% of her success. But a huge factor in all of that is, what did she just say to us? You hang around with millionaires and billionaires. You have multiple mentors. You're looking at different mentors in different areas so that you get the best of the best in the area that you want to improve in. Take that to heart. Don't hang around with schleps. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's constantly learning. So, and don't even take my word for it. Don't even take Catherine's word for it. Take this man's word for it. How many of you really enjoy watching Anthony Hopkins on the screen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's so amazing. Well, I had the privilege of sharing the stage with him. Now, I was able to sit in the audience when it was his turn to talk. So I was sitting in the second row. So afterwards, when we were talking and we were hanging out, by the way, we really connected. He had on a black and white check suit with a red watch and red socks. So he and I just were like, oh, no, how about red? And then he goes, and I said, I was sitting in the audience. And he goes, oh, yes, yes, yes. I remember you. You were the pretty girl in the red dress in the second row. And I'm like, yeah, that was me. And he goes, yes, yes, the pretty girl in the red dress, second row. And he kept repeating it. It was actually kind of really, really cool and really, really kind of creepy in the same breath. I wasn't quite sure. And I'll tell you the follow-up to that. But what he said during his presentation, during his talk, is that he said for every movie that he's in, no matter how many awards he's won, he always gets a dialect coach, like an acting coach, a movement coach, a dance coach, depending on what the movie calls for. Mm-hmm. This is a man who's had multiple Academy Awards, Oscar, whatever. If it's an award, the man's received it. And yet he every time hones his craft.
Constantly.
And I was so impressed with that because I do theater as well. And because I'm a public speaker and I do stuff like this, I'm constantly looking at what can I do better? How can I show up differently? How can I really be authentic and yet deliver to other people? So if Anthony Hopkins is doing it, why aren't all of us living our life this way?
If it's good enough for Anthony Hopkins, it should be good enough for you people.
And the reason that I thought of him when you said magic is because after that time I met him, I went back home and I just all of a sudden had this desire over the next couple of weeks to see this movie that my aunt and uncle terrified me with. It was called Magic, and it was about this ventriloquist doll in the sky, and it terrified me, and I still do not like ventriloquist dolls. And I went to the store to see if I could rent it. And they go, oh, it's not available. And I'm like, well, who's even in it? And they go, Anthony Hopkins. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why pretty girl in the red dress. That's why that scared me because he was the guy talking through the ventriloquist doll. So that has been one of my favorite moments ever in my life of speaking, being able to share the stage with somebody so amazing and somebody who really believes in what they do and invests in themselves for mentors. So it's amazing. Yeah, and definitely magic.
All right. So remember I said Barry's right here talking in my ear? The movie Magic, the coach, I guess that either were, I've never seen the movie because I know it's creepy and I'm not into creepy movies. I don't know if Anthony Hopkins was the person with the ventriloquist doll or if it's somebody else in the movie, but the trainer to teach them how to be a ventriloquist was one of Barry's friends from high school. Yeah.
Thank you, Barry, for that information.
Exactly.
Wow. Now I want to make a connection. I want to talk to all them all. I mean, because that has stayed with me. I was 12 years old when that movie came out. I think it was 1975. I was
Right.
terrified. I remember my aunt and uncle, it was like on HBO or Cinemax, and I was like, oh, because it was like the next year that I saw it. And that movie's never left me. So imagine that. Like, what a cool thing. Yeah. That was amazing. Yeah, Anthony was the man with the ventriloquist doll in the film.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Cool.
I know this friend of his. I guess he was a friend of Barry's. I'm pretty sure from high school, but if you're saying 75, somebody from the neighborhood. And I was just like, honey, you had the weirdest friends. Yeah, because he actually worked on this guy, whoever he is, worked on several different movies, training people to use ventriloquist dolls.
Wow.
And I don't know, people with ventriloquist dolls
are talented. I practice it all the time. I practice talking like this without anything else, so I can do it when I'm on stage or when I'm on camera to tell somebody something.
That's funny. That is funny.
Yeah. So I've been trying to work on that. Now if I could start singing and drinking from a cup while I do it, we'll see.
Then you have a whole new career. You have a whole new career. There are a ton of publicists out there. There are a ton of people that will help you write your book and publish your book and get it out there and publicize you. And why do people seek you out versus anybody else? What is the special sauce?
What's interesting is there's two kinds of people that I seem to attract the most. And one is that people they used to come across a crowded room. Now they see me across the crowded Zoom. That was a play on words. We're on StreamYard today, but that was a play on words. And they say, oh my gosh, I just had to talk to you and work with you. I love your energy. Yep. So something about me exudes through these waves here and touches them, and they fall in love with me, and that's what an honor. And the other piece, the other type of people who come to me is like, oh my gosh, I've worked with so many other people and I was frustrated because I did this here and I did this there and I did this there, and like no one was talking to each other. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you found me, because I like to be the overseer of it all. And we have partners in place, but I manage it all. So it's one person. It's like it's almost like as if you were taking your child. To me, your business, your life, you think of it as a baby. You want to take your child to a hospital where they have all the services right there and they get taken care of. Right. You don't want to go here, there, and go here, there, and none of them are talking to each other, and you're repeating yourself all the time. And that's what I love, that one place to go, that you're embraced and loved, and that someone's behind you to take care of you. That's what we do with the Red Carpet Connection, because it's not just about connecting you with other people in the world. It's about having someone that loves you and your business as much as you do. So for my clients, we go through an application process, and if you're in love with your business and you can convince me why I should be in love with your business, I'll tell you what, I will take care of it like it's my baby. And I have a heart for a lot of children.
All your little babies out there in the world that you're raising, that you're, growing up to be better people.
Yeah. So we raise them up and then we go fly. It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
I have to say, it was the same with us. We saw you on the Marketers Cruise, and it's very true. I mean, everyone, guys, gals listening to the podcast right now, see, I've been told, like, you can't just say guys because that's insulting to women. All right,
I'm
whatever.
fine with that.
Whatever.
I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me. I'm fine.
People. That is exactly how we met you. Who is the lady in the red dress? She drank way too much coffee this morning. She is just.
No, I don't even drink coffee.
Right. You don't drink coffee either. But
I don't even get the drink package. So I literally only drink water the whole time. And yet I'm so energetic. Everybody thinks that I'm high on coffee or that I've been drinking all day. And I'm like, I haven't had any alcohol or any caffeine. This is just me.
And it is. And I have to say, watching you, sometimes people say like a busy little bee going here and there and everywhere. But it was so strategic. It was really inspiring to watch you very strategically go from one person to bring them to another, get that thing going, now go off here, get these people, get some information from somebody else, go back. And it was strategically done. It was like a ballet. It was a business ballet. And if you own your own business, you know how sexy that is. This business ballet of somebody who's going around and just making sure that everyone was connecting, everyone was feeling great, everyone was being loved on. I want to bring that up.
Thank you. I do that. I do that all by just so you know, I pay my own way on the ship. I'm a volunteer. Ken Rashawn is actually the house photographer for the ship. He's one of my clients now. I met him on the ship, and now he's been one of my longest running clients. And I actually am the executive director and made his movement a nonprofit. So and that happened in 2015 when we first met. And actually, this book right here, the Keep Smiling book, it's because I won the Heart of Gold on the ship, and I volunteer to do that. And all the photography I do, I just do in support of Captain Lou and Mike Filsame for their trip, and Tom Beals, the third partner in that. And I volunteer my time and do all of that. So all of that work. So we take pictures. Well, Ken, it's a paid position. For me, I take all the pictures and help render them and do all of that as a volunteer. So I think that's why people notice what I do, because most people don't even know. In fact, people probably be surprised to know that they probably have no idea that on the ship I have volunteered that the last all these years. But I did win the Internet Marketers Cruise Heart of Gold prize, and that's where your peers nominate you as the most selfless giving person. And I did win that, I think my second or third year on the cruise. I think it was my second year, and I apparently won it again like the year after that, but you can only win it once. And so there's only been 13 of us to date who have ever won one. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it truly is. It is something that each of us votes on, nominates everybody who's on the cruise. And this isn't P.S. Captain Lou, you really deep discount for the two of us because of all the promotion I'm just saying, Captain Lou, I'm just saying.
So those of you who are watching this, and I will love on Catherine for this because I'll know where these names came from. If you're seeing this and you want to go on the Internet Marketers Cruise with us, then go to I think it's marketerscruise.com. And look for my name, Andrea Adams-Miller. I'm like the second or third one down. Sign up under Andrea Adams-Miller. I'll make sure to really love on Catherine. We actually get a little bit of stage time if we refer the most people to come. And we will definitely, well, I'm executive producer for her now for her show. So I'll definitely give her a lot of love throughout this next year. It's something I volunteered to do in honor of Barry so that we can keep her in business and keep her afloat so she can go on the ship and be floating some more.
But what I wanted to say was there are our little group on the ship, over 400 people,
It was 450 this last year, I heard.
So it's not a small thing. It's not a it's not a popularity contest.
No.
When you
Some people go and like to stay private and quiet, and you can choose. You can go on it as a vacation and pop in as you desire. It's who you are. I go there to connect with people, and that's what fills my heart and excitement. In fact, my husband wanted to go, and I'm like, well, you can go, but I'm just letting you know I'm never going to see you.
But I'm trying to let my amazing audience understand it's not a popularity contest. This is over 400 people who went, yeah, she touched me. She
Oh,
did something. She volunteered. She made me feel better. That's, that's why we had to beeline over to you, because there is definitely something about you.
thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Here she was trying to give me a compliment and I wouldn't stop talking.
And yeah, and that's what it's like hanging out with her on the cruise. Just saying.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoy being with my peers. I love hearing what they're doing and uplifting them and
Mhm.
seeing how we can partner and seeing what they do and how we can bring that to other community. I'm really about community and people. I'm very inclusive. I want to include everyone and figure out how we can all grow and prosper. And I believe there is enough for everyone. I have this really huge, high manifest ability for everyone to be able to thrive. And it's very exciting to me, and I'm very passionate about it. And thank you for recognizing me for that, Catherine. I
And
appreciate you.
yeah, podcasts are evergreen, blah, blah. You'll be watching this in 5 years and you'll look back and you'll know exactly when we did this at a time that people don't believe that there's enough to go around. And at a time where people are not collaborating and are not working together and are not creating community. So don't do that. Go talk to the people, even the people who are doing the exact same thing that you are, because you do it a little bit differently than somebody else. And when you create community, you create this energy that the right person will end up with the right person and everyone will win.
I totally am with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm not competitive. I actually work and reach out to other publicists all the time. Some of them are like, no, and I'm like, well, you can be one because I can't serve everybody. And there's things that you need. And because I am a publicist, but I do more than that because I also look at what can we build or make for you as far as supplemental materials. Is there a book that you need? Do you need to attach to a nonprofit? If so, I have one. If you're not aligned with mine, I'm helping 25 others as part of ours. Where can we plug you in where you fit? How can we set up JVs and joint ventures for you and partnerships based on where you're at or what you're doing? How can we create just, and the nonprofit is a mental health nonprofit. And then I'm also a new business, co-founder of a mental health and business consulting business where we're helping people who are in business who can be vulnerable and go, wow, I'm having a bad day, or this didn't work for me, or I just had a client who was doing a really big interview, really big. It was a client and a client, got him on a program, and things were shut down because of a system-wide grid thing due to riots and stuff. And so, and here's a show about positivity being torn down by negativity. And so we're like, how can we turn this into positivity? So like right now, I'm ready to be writing press releases and so forth about talking about how do we show up and love people with smiles. Mm-hmm.
And talk a little bit about the Smile Project. I want to get into books and book writing, but first I want to talk about the Smile Project because I love it. Keep smiling.
Yay. So the Keep Smiling movement was originally started with these cards that were started by a gentleman named Barry Shore. He already was passing out the cards, and suddenly one day, out of the blue, he had an undiagnosed autoimmune disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome that he didn't know about until he, at the end of the day, perfectly healthy in the morning, nightfall, complete quadriplegic. Remained a quadriplegic and in the process of being one. And he realized that smiling helped him change his external environment. And then he was like, wait, I'm changing my life around me. What if I could change my internal environment? So even though his doctors and them said, you'll never walk again, he's like, yeah, that ain't happening. I'm doing it.
Right.
And he, with his mindset, it was about 14 years, I think, between 8 and 14 years before he became fully ambulatory again. Now he does walk with a gated walk. He does need assistance. He has a huge, I think it's a 6 or 7 foot walking staff. And he calls it his walking wand. But he was passing out these cards. Ken saw him. Ken and I met in January of 2015. And then Ken and I got off the ship, and then we were at like all these events together. And I'm like, okay, kismet here. Obviously, we're supposed to work together because I can't go anywhere without you being there. You're in my space all the time. Yeah. Somebody was stalking somebody there because somebody was putting us together. And then he met Barry, saw this card, saw these, fell in love with it. And then he created a book by taking pictures of people and putting them together. And then he showed me this book and he said, what do I do with this? Help me. And I said, oh, this is like a modern day who's who. This is a way for us to establish community. I call it Smiles. We're a society merging international leaders and entrepreneurs for social responsibility. Smiles.
Smiles.
Yeah. So we're a mental health organization, and we spread a dose of hope. So through Smiles, because a smile, when you smile, it causes a download of neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, which make you feel a little buzzed, a little high, a little happy. And that's what we do for people. And so we also have these in 27 different languages. So,
oh my
pick
goodness,
what language you want to talk in, and we'll go for it here. We'll just go for it. And it's amazing, and it allows us to love people. To us, a smile is an expression of love and acceptance that crosses all cultural barriers.
It does. You smile and people light up. People, and even we've got the COVID thing going on, so we've all got our little COVID masks going on, and yet. You couldn't hear me through that. We've all got our little COVID masks going on. And yet, you can tell when somebody's smiling, even with the mask on.
So our friend David Corbin came up with a little fun play on words for us. And so we actually own the domain Smile now. That's SMEYELE. Or SMEYELE. Yes, I said it right. Instead of the I in the middle, the I, you write I, EYE, smile, because you can't mask a smile, because you're right. This is hidden. This is what's seen. So you look over here, because this is a real smile called the Duchenne smile. It elevates and lifts the entire face, and you can see it. Even the pupil dilation changes and stuff when people are truly smiling at you. And the reason we came up with that is I was watching the news. I do have an auditory processing disorder, so it means I hear everything. And not being able to discriminate on what to hear on, it actually makes it difficult to hear. So when TV's on, I always have thank you. I always have the SAP channel on, or the caption, so I can read what's being said. But with the mask like this, even with the words, I couldn't tell what they were saying. It was because I read their lips, and I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. And then I started crying. I'm very sensitive. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't imagine being in the hospital telling people I can't breathe. I'm afraid, I'm scared about this. And then all these people, all they do is look at you like this. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, if we could teach them to make eye contact.
Yeah.
And then I was walking in the store. The first time I went to the store during COVID, where I had to go to the store because we had like 3 or 4 weeks full of supplies and I didn't need to go to the store. And I went and I was walking down the aisle, and this woman sees me and literally she goes and slaps herself against the wall. I was like, wow, that was a little much. Did I look like a big COVID germ coming at you? But I thought, wow, she wouldn't. And I go, I'm sorry if I startled you or whatever. And she wouldn't look me in the eye. And to me, that was more upsetting than the social distancing, that no one would just look. I am not going to infect you by us making eye to eye contact.
Yeah.
It's and we can be 6 feet, 12 feet apart and still make eye contact. And can't mask a smile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't. I love it.
We now have over 112 authors, and I'm pointing the wrong way because I still haven't gotten used to the. I'm also dyslexic, so this is like weird for me.
You're not, no, you're not, because you are there on my screen, but I have to point that way in order to point to you.
Oh yeah,
everything is mirrored.
You're the opposite. Okay, that helps me. It's still difficult for me because I'm in my own way. It's like the first time I had to learn to curl my hair when I was a teenager. I couldn't figure it out. And this is, I'll tell you what, while we're playing and having fun right now and talking about this, all of this is incorporated with publicity and with being a really good business consultant. Because mind you, I had 3 clients sign on right before COVID for me to get them on stages. Yeah, that wasn't happening.
Right.
So I had to reinvent what I do for them. So all of a sudden, I just went back and started looking at their foundation, looking at their copy, looking at how they present, looking at their webinar material, looking at the way they write their websites, the way they contact people, the way they can convert people with helping people fall in love with their products and services in a healthy, positive way. So people feel enlightened and free to say no. And when they're given that gift to be able to say no, the right people who are interested say yes. And
Right.
that's created this beautiful culture. And actually, business has been really booming for me for COVID and a lot of other people that I know. And it's all the people who've been really thinking that have been so flexible and adaptable. We have to be. We have to be.
And, when all this is over and, and when we can walk around without masks, although I think it's a lovely fashion statement. When we can walk around without the masks, and when we're meeting again in our events and everything, I think we need to take forward with us the skills that we learned doing events online, the skills that we learned doing more webinars, the skills that we learned teaching and reaching out to people through Zoom, through podcasts that are also broadcast live. We need to take those skills forward because now there are so many they're not new, we just weren't using them. There are so many ways of connecting, and all anybody wants is connection these days. All anybody wants is connection. You've got a consumer and the consumer wants to buy something. They're buying it from people, whether the consumer is a business to business or, business to consumer, they're buying it from somebody that they feel a connection to.
Yeah.
Not the fanciest advertising, not the, schnazziest look. In the end, it's, do I have a connection with you? Are you, your company, your people making me feel good, making me feel worthy, worthwhile, like I want to support you as you support me. And that's so important. And with everything that you do, it's that ingredients thing again. You mix all these different ingredients and you're making magic.
Yeah.
You're making absolute magic.
I can make magic. I can make anything your heart desires. Magic.
That's right. We have song. We have
That's all I like to sing.
There's one more piece. There's one more ingredient that I want to talk about.
Okay.
The book, or the book that each of us as business people should be writing.
It's funny. I talked about your child earlier. I actually have the domain. I've just never finished doing the website for whatever reason, but I have the domain, the official book doula. And that's because I help you birth your child. I help you. The funny thing is that apparently, well, I also own an intimacy and relationship business. So when you think about it, I help you conceive your child. and birth your child and then help you raise it. Because that's what I'm doing with the movement. I tell everybody with the Keep Smiling movement, I'm like, I met Ken and he had this tiny child. Ken had this tiny child, this tiny idea already. Or as I met him, he had no child, then he had a little child, and I became the surrogate mother. I became mama to this baby that Ken had, and I have raised this baby for 5 years, and this baby has big shoes to fill. To feel and fill. We are raising a ruler of the world to indoctrinate smiles all over the world and to create peace and happiness and love. And we cannot be the only two people to parent this child. We need other people all over the world to infiltrate their love and to bring their love into that. And so it's a movement that it's more than us. It's bigger than us. In fact, a couple months ago, I had to have a real heart to heart, like this is bigger than us, and I need to be allowed to set this free, bigger than you ever imagined it to be, because it's a legacy of its own. And everybody It was weird because they were like, because I was asking them to give up control of something and to allow it to fly. And it was weird and uncomfortable. And it's kind of like when your kid's ready to move out, how do you let it go and make its own decisions and create its own path? And
Don't
it's
go.
happening.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
go
it's
cross
been,
country to college, please don't.
yeah, we just had our first big official launch for National Keep Smiling Week. National Smile Day, which is an official government day, was May 31st. And the week prior, we created National Keep Smiling Week. We just declared it was so and made it happen. And it was. And it was beautiful and exhausting and lovely. I mean, I was managing over 100 people, getting them on radio shows and doing whatever, in addition to my own work. But it was a beautiful thing. So imagine this. Imagine a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, well, I would love to work with you, but I haven't written enough chapters yet. And I say, well, I'd like to be honest with you. I would actually like to talk to you before you write another word. In fact, if you haven't written any words, it's even better. Because sometimes when you're writing, so I look at, I pull back and I do a bird's eye view of everything. What does this affect? I consider it like a spider web, kind of like, so in the middle, there's that hole. Okay, so that's the tiny details. That's the core of where it's going to be. But how does it branch and spider web out? Who does it affect? How could it affect them? How can that work? Is everything that you're writing in this book, or do you have other multiple books that are coming out? So what comes first? Where are the priorities? What gets tabled and set to the side for maybe something else later? And what is a die hard to me, die hard to you that you're asking me to please keep on, hang on to it? And at the same time, I want you to look at it as a shell, a labyrinth. If a shell is cut in half, it spirals in, and then what's in the center that spirals out, because it's at both directions that that book needs to move.
Right.
In order to create that. And now, because people listen differently, what do we put in writing and what do we put auditorily? And then what can we make kinesthetically so that everybody can take and experience your baby, your book, the way you are? And is your book truly a book, or is it have a life of its own where it's a course or a class or a movement? And that's what I'm looking for.
That's hugely interesting because everybody learns in a different way. And, I think, when you were in school, when I was in school, the teachers didn't realize that, that one of us learns auditorially and one of us learns kinesthetically. And, they didn't realize that, and they did the best they could with what they had. But it's very interesting that you talk about that with the book, that we think, okay, the book is just a book and I'm reading it. Oh, and wait, now I can read it in my car when I'm driving because it's an auditory, it's an audio auditory. It's an audio book. But yeah, there's, like for me personally, I got a Kindle. And I can read on the Kindle, but I'm not thrilled on the Kindle. I need the book. I need the paper. I need to hear that.
I need to smell the book.
And the binder cracking. And then other people are like, no, I just need the words and stuff. So tell me a little bit more about that, how the book now is able to touch on the different ways that we learn and absorb.
Well, see, to me, because I grew up where, to me, books were a living thing. Mm-hmm. They're not dead pieces of paper.
Right.
The words are moving. Words are very valuable to me, and they mean a lot. And at the same time, I learned to become a speed reader as a child, and it was because I was starved for and thirsted for this information that I just engulfed it. And so I read so fast that there are little details that I don't even read those words. So what I've learned now about speed reading is that your eyes capture things that you're not even aware that you're capturing. Like I don't read the, if, and the, whether it's yellow or purple. I may sometimes pick up on that, but I have my own image in my head of what it looks like. So when a movie's made, I'm like, wow, that person did not look like that whatsoever. They didn't consult me. No, and, it's just funny because I'm like, okay, well, I have to accept that this is what that person looked like in someone else's view. But when you're experiencing like that, it's an experiential activity. And so how do you experience the words? Is it, I mean, I'm the kind of person who like, so I'm all the senses. So when I'm reading a book, I can smell the book. I can taste things that are within a book. If it's talking about a food or a scent or a smell, I associate smells to meaning and things in my world. So if those are incorporated within a book, I'm going to feel it, touch it, taste it, experience it, live in that. And your book can be a self-help book, it can be a business book, it can be a quote book, but all of those have meaning if you let the words resonate to be what they are.
So,
Then each one of them will tell a story.
and I think that's why someone should choose working with you, so that you're not just writing words, you're not just instructing somebody, go 500 feet this way, then make a right, then make a, you're really getting it all, and allowing the different people to experience it in different ways, simply by how are you presenting the material? How are you writing it? What words are you choosing? Words matter. Oh my gosh, words matter so much. And
Yeah,
processing words.
there's a connection in there too, because a lot of times when I read a book from someone who's written, and I'll read it and I said, this is beautiful information. Thank you for now giving me the information, but this is what I'm noticing. You said, here, this is the world. This is how you do it. This is how you, if it was a farm, this is how you go and dig that field and plant those things and take those crops and sell those crops. Okay, bye. And you're like, oh, wait, I need more than that. There's something more I need. So by writing the book and letting people know along the way that they have somebody to come back to for support, and let's say you're too busy. Let's say you don't want to do coaching. Maybe there's other home study courses, or maybe there's audio and video supplementary information to help people with those certain areas that they needed something more from you about. And maybe it's not you. Maybe there's other peers and other people in your world that have products and services that supplement that information, because nothing happens in a vacuum of one. So yes, there's power in one, but there's more power in many. And so allowing that net to be cast out so that you have now connection with community is
Right.
what really makes that book and those words thrive.
And that's so, that's so important. I was doing some coaching yesterday, and talking to a gentleman, and he's like, well, I'm just starting to get on stage, and I'm really not, closing or converting. And I could tell he came from corporate America, and he was a management trainer, and this is what he's doing now. And I could tell it. I said, okay, in corporate America, you presented your stuff and then everybody went off and did it, right? And he goes, yeah. I said, when you're speaking in front of people, you present your stuff and then you make everybody go off and do it. It's like saying, thank you, good night, try the meal. No.
And bye.
How? And bye. No, what is the next step I must take? You must tell me. I love this information. You must tell me. So that is an amazing concept in book writing, is to make sure that the whole package is there. The book is not standing alone. The book is part of an entire plan to help people along. Yeah. Every book is helping people along, even if it's a fiction book and it's helping you relax at the end of the day. It's, it's helping you escape. And wow, just that whole concept of it's a piece of a bigger pie. I love it.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it too, because I love to read all books. I mean, I got excited when I was a kid to read the cereal box. I mean, come on. I read everything. And when you thirst for knowledge and keep learning, and it's just as amazing what you can create for yourself.
I'm going to make you jealous.
Okay.
Growing up, I'm the youngest sibling by like a lot. Like my siblings are a lot older. They're really old. I know at least one of my sisters is watching this podcast, and she's going to call me later and say nasty.
She's going to go, I'm really old, really?
I'm really old, really? They are. So my oldest sister worked for a book bindery when I was a kid. Guess what she brought me home every single day? A brandy new book.
Wow, that would be like Christmas in my world. Oh, I went to the library. We
Yeah.
would go to the library, and my mom and I would bring back stacks and stacks of books. I mean, our whole body. And I would come home and I would just dump them, and I would lay on my bed. I like to read laying down like this with
Okay.
literally my nose in a book. And so when you see me present on stage, I literally, in my dress and heels, always get down and lay down on the stage. It's really funny. And I read a book in front of people. And then I would fall asleep every night with my face in the book. And so that's why I know what books smell like, because that's where. So it's not as fun to sleep on a Kindle. I've done that
No, it's
or
not.
in my phone. It's not, doesn't have the same feel. And the texture of paper can change a nuance of a book as well. It's really exciting what you can do. Of course, we can do that with Kindle as well. We can change the color and the dynamics and the font. And there's so many things we can do to create life within
Mhm.
that. So it's living, whether it's digital or not. And I do embrace all of it because it's all words and it's all a message. And if you have a really powerful message, then I want to make sure that that happens for you. I mean, when you think about it, you don't have to have a message in order to have publicity. I mean, look at like the Kardashians and the Olsen twins. What are they presenting to the world?
Evil, just
I
pure.
don't I don't
Oh,
even know that it's just nothing. It's just
nothing.
nothing. It's
And
just
yes,
kind
there
of
they
there. And yet they're doing a great job of it. So whoever their publicist says, good job, you're getting them out there.
That's
And the
right.
funny part is that for me, I want to know that you have something of substance. Is it relevant to the world? Does it bring joy and value? Does it amplify goodness for other people? Is it a product, a service, a software, a skill set that helps bring life to other people, that brings abundance to them so that they can continue to give to other people? That's the kind of clients that I'm looking for. So if you can be listening to this and go, no, I have something of value that other people's lives could be affected by using
Right.
it. And I don't mean that everybody's product is going to, okay. So like, let's say somebody came to me and they had like a new toilet paper or something. Okay. That's not going to necessarily change our lives. Like, I'm not going to go, oh my gosh, I was this way and now I'm that because of this new toilet paper.
You never know.
But it may change the environment. It may
Yeah.
change in comfort. It may be good for somebody who's got sensitivities and for somebody that does make a big difference, and it impacts them and it financially impacts them and it helps with the economy and the packaging and the selling. We have such a trickle effect on so many things that people honestly don't realize that how much we really affect other people all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to finish up. First of all, I've got the redcarpetconnection.com. Tell us why my listeners should go there.
Well, first of all, because I adore Catherine, I wanted to make sure you all had something that is for you special. So for all of you who go there to the redcarpetconnection.com, you can sign up for time with me for me to do an assessment for you. And I will be happy to either look at your publicity, at your professional business, or at your personal life. And any of those, and I don't care what level of business that you're in. I mean, I do care. I care what level of business you're in, but I am not going to place judgment on you that I'm just starting out, or I'm a mom, or I'm a CEO who's just left corporate and want to reposition myself, or I'm a six-figure internet marketer and I'm looking to see what else is missing in my life or what else I could be doing, or I'm
Sure.
retired and I'm bored. What can I do now? Whoever you are, you can reach out to me. We can have this time together. Now, for some of my clients, who do different fees with me, they only get to talk to me 15 minutes a week. That's the only time that they get to have. But we cover a lot of information. I'm very like on point. Do it. We're doing this, boom, done. In 15 minutes, we've covered so much territory. It's because I've practiced in masterminding and I used to run masterminding minds for clients. And so I just have this really good way of producing information in my head that you can carry out to help you really get things going. So you get one of that time with me, and I take it very seriously. And you'll most people most people actually, I've never heard anybody say anything but really great things. So far as I know, it's really good.
Right. Why would anybody say anything else? And so the
I don't
last
know.
question I have for you, as everybody writes down the redcarpetconnection.com, what is the best advice you can give to any entrepreneur about making a decision to hire a mentor?
Well, the best way that you make a decision is that you make it. Like you go, I want this, I'm going to do it. And you say, I'm going to make this work no matter what.
Right.
And some people say, no, that's crazy. No, it's not. I have had so many obstacles thrown in front of me. People told me, no, you can't do this. Oh, you're too fat to be on stage. You can't sing. You're not funny. I didn't have money at one point. I didn't have this. People saying that, things won't work. You can't happen. You can't sing and dance and talk about intimacy and business all in the one breath. Really? Because I decided it could be.
Watch
So
me.
actually, I'm gonna I'm gonna share Shel Silverstein with you. This is what got me through as a child, and I might not have it exact, but this is how it was in my head, so it'll do for today. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the should haves, the would haves, and the won'ts. Listen to the never haves. Then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Everything can be.
That's right. That's right.
So you just have to declare that this is what's going to happen, and you make it happen. And with me, we'll figure it out. This is what I always tell people. Call me. If you really are committed to this, we'll figure it out. And you will. Look at Catherine. She's figuring it out.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, the most profitable businesses, the most successful, at that time it was all men, but the most successful men were the ones who just looked at it and made the decision. No, make a decision and stick with the decision. That's what you have to do.
So, it's truly never give up. Never give up.
Nope.
My longest business partner told me as a compliment once, he said, Andrea, you're loyal to a fault. And I will be. Always. That's a value I stand for, that I'll be loyal to you to a fault. We are going to make things happen and we'll create them. And we also let the world ebb and flow. Mm-hmm. And some days we'll have pushback and some days we'll cry together. And then the next day we just get back up and we figure it out again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Andrea
Adams-Miller, this hyper, early in the morning, late at night, on a cruise, I can attest, the red carpet connection.
Yeah, I am the one who coined the term. You'll hear other people say it was them. It was not. It was me. When you smell bacon, it's time to go to bed.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Thank you so much for being my guest on the show today. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge, ideas, and action steps for all the entrepreneurs out there to follow. And everybody, we will see you next week on the show. You can find us on all of the podcast players, Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes. You can find us on YouTube, and you can always find us here on Facebook as well. Mwah. Andre, thank you so much for everything you've done. So much.
And keep smiling.
Keep smiling.
keepsmilingmovement.com.
Hi.
Gotta love it. Thank you so much. Love to you.